Hi. Are you a professional wrestling promoter? Do you have trouble bringing people into your shows? Well, I think I might know your problem. When you sit down to design your wrestling poster, is all that you do just slap a couple of bad 8x10s on there and put the words featuring former WWF talent Scott Steiner in big letters? Well, that might be part of your problem. As much as booking the big bad booty daddy might increase your chances of getting people to come to your show by 141 2/3%, unfortunately, a bad poster will most likely turn more people away from your show than bring them in. I mean, I have seen numerous wrestling posters in my time where I've gone, oh, cool, there's Scott Steiner's on this show, I should go. And then I looked at the poster and went, ooh, I don't know about it. Because remember, your poster is a reflection of the product that people are going to be getting. Meaning that if it is a hastily thrown together at the last minute poster, that's what people think the show's going to be. However, if it's something well designed that welcomes people in and tells a fun story, maybe it could draw more people to your shows. Which is why I am here today, to hopefully coach you through designing your first good independent professional wrestling poster. And it all begins with the poster itself. Hey everybody, this is future narration cartoon Scotty coming to you because turns out I'm really bad at teaching people how to do this while I'm doing it, which is why I'm here to guide you through the manic world of me trying to scramble together a wrestling poster in an hour, because past me thought this was good advice. Beef it up, beef it up, beef it up, beef it up. Reese's Puffs, Reese's Puffs. It also helps if you sing the Reese's Puffs song to yourself while you do it. But anyways, like I said in the intro there, having a good poster begins with the poster itself. What size does your poster need to be? Knowing the size and proportions of your poster lets you know how much room you're working with. If you're just starting out and don't have the budget to order prints and you can only print things off of your home printer, then you want to go with an 8.5 by 11 size. If you want to up your game, you could go with 11 by 17, 18 by 24, or if you're feeling froggy, 24 by 36. Please don't do 24 by 36. Oh my god, that's such a massive poster. It's not worth the printing costs, trust me. Alternately, you might not even need to do a conventional poster at all. It is the age of social media after all, and social media proportions vary greatly from platform to platform. Also, I'm going to be working in Photoshop today, but don't let that limit you. There are numerous free options from Canva to GIMP to Pixlr that can help you get started for free. But today, I'm going to be working in Photoshop with a basic 18 by 24 canvas to get a little closer to the traditional poster vibe. Now, the most important thing you need in the beginning is all of the important info for your event. That's location, date, door time, bell time, ticket prices, a link, phone number, or even a QR code to where they can find tickets, and of course, the ever-important card subject to change. Oh, and also the name of your show itself. And for our show today, I turned to everyone's new favorite digital friend, ChatGPT. Hey, give me a name for an independent professional wrestling event. Let's get more granular. In Alabama. Of course, how about Southern Showdown, the Alabama Slam? I'll take Southern Showdown. Alabama Slam is just the name of a move, my dude. So now we have a show name, Southern Showdown, which means we get to move on to the next part. My personal favorite part of putting a poster together, fonts. I'm very exciting at parties, as you can tell. To me, a good font can help tell the story of your event more than anything else. A gritty, grimy font can express the idea of your show being a brutal, hardcore affair reminiscent of ECW. A more clean and polished font could give the idea of the show being something more regal, like a championship tournament. And a font like this just shouldn't be used. I mean, yeah, it looks cool, right? But when you shrink it down on a poster and surround it with other elements, it can't be read. So remember, the number one rule here when designing a poster is legibility above everything else. You know, unless you're a death metal band, I guess. Now, a good place to go searching for fonts is, of course, the internet. There's places like 1001fonts.com, DaFont, FontSpace, and a personal favorite of mine, What the Font, which is a site that'll actually let you upload an image and help you figure out a specific font you might want to use from within that image to use in your own artwork. Just download whatever you want to use, click install, and boom, it's ready to go. And for our poster today, I wanted to go with a bit of an Old West font, playing off the Southern Showdown name, which made me think of the Wild Wild West, shootouts, and all of that. So, we have our basic text and information, but we're missing the most important thing from a wrestling poster: wrestlers. Now, if you're a promoter or designer, one of the most important things you can have is a Google Drive or a Dropbox or something like that that contains PNGs of all the wrestlers that might be appearing on your shows. Now, if you don't know what a PNG is, essentially it's an image file type that allows for the background to be transparent, meaning when you place it into your document in Photoshop, you don't have to worry about cropping or editing out anything behind your talent. Also, make sure the files you have are updated at least yearly. I mean, the amount of times I've seen this picture of Effie used when he doesn't look a damn thing like that nowadays is ridiculous. Feel free to reach out to your talent, and I'm sure they'll be willing to help you out with new headshots. But what if you don't have access to a PNG of your wrestlers? Well, that's where the Lasso tool comes into play. I'm sure there are plenty of other better methods to do this. In fact, I'm fairly sure there are online websites that will automatically remove backgrounds from images, but for now, I'm sticking with the basics, what I know best. So grab the Lasso tool, and in Photoshop, you want it to be set to magnetic lasso. That will allow you to trace around your talent and get a pretty basic outline of them. Then, switch to the normal lasso. That way you can clean up any issues after that, because the magnetic lasso is good, but it's not great. You can hold Alt and lasso out any extra bits, and then hold Shift to add any bits that the original lassoing may have missed. Hold Control-Shift-I to invert your selection, press Delete, and boom! No more background. If you want to go the extra mile, go up to the Select tab, press Feather, and feather that outline by about 5 pixels, which just softens your edges and helps blend them in a little bit better into your poster. Once you've done that, immediately save it as a PNG so you have it ready for the future whenever you need it. But now, it's time to get into the designing part of the whole graphic design thing. I've imported all the wrestlers from the very bold card that ChatGPT gave me. Cody Rhodes versus AJ Styles, Hiromu Takahashi versus Will Ospreay, the Young Bucks versus the Usos, Jay White versus Seth Rollins, and then Jaden Knight versus Jonathan X. I'm assuming those two people do not exist, so we're just gonna stick with those first 4 matches. Honestly, not a bad card. Not a bad card they've drafted here. And here's where we need to start considering the forms and shapes that we want to tell the story for this event. I know our main event of the evening is going to be Cody Rhodes versus AJ Styles, so I make them the largest and most prominent, with everyone else filling in around them. I'm going for kind of a pyramid shape with how my talents are arranged, but this is almost entirely up to taste and what you think looks best. One of my favorite posters recently was actually the Heart of the Southern 16 tournament poster from New South, where all of those 16 tournament combatants were arranged in a heart. I don't know if it was done on purpose, but God, it was really well done. It told the story perfectly. Draw inspiration from some of your favorite posters, whether that be old WrestleMania and Royal Rumble posters, or hell, even movie posters like Star Wars or Avengers. And once you get everyone arranged roughly how you want, that's when you get into the more granular details, because it's never going to be perfect right away. For instance, you could see our text across the top is hiding Jay White's face, so we need to move that. You could see the hard crop lines at the bottom of Rollins, Hiromu, and Ospreay, so we need to hide those, and the whole thing just kind of lacks a sense of cohesiveness. This is the point where it almost becomes a bit like a puzzle, figuring out where to place everyone and how to arrange things to all be represented prominently. As you can see, this is also the part I spent most of my time on. This is also where we need to find a way to make our text a little bit more prominent, and the way I do that most often in Photoshop is by using blending tools. You get to that by right-clicking the layer or group folder that contains all of your text, clicking blending options, and basically playing around. I went ahead and added a bit of an outer glow to the text, roughly the same color as the background, and a bit of a light tan stroke around the outside of the letters to really help them stand out. I also kind of considered adding a drop shadow, but since we're already working with black text, I felt like it would probably hurt more than it helped. But really, those are the 3 best tools for helping text stand out: outer glow, stroke, and drop shadow. And now, it's all about the finishing touches. Firstly, I merge all of our wrestlers into one layer by selecting all of their individual layers and hitting Ctrl-E. And then I open it up in the camera raw filter. I play with the levels to increase the contrast before upping the noise reduction, which reduces the details and gives it a little bit more of a painterly look. I finish things off by upping the grain in the image, and boom! It's a subtle change, but I think it helps unite things a little bit more. And to continue that, I duplicate the layer with Ctrl-J, hit Ctrl-U, and open the hue saturation window, and I hit colorize, which, as you can see, makes everyone the exact same color. This really helps if you have any pictures where your talent has weird changes in lighting by basically uniting them all with one cohesive color. And given we're going with this Wild West theme, I chose this nice kind of orangey yellow before setting our blend mode to soft light and reducing the opacity to about 50%. It's another subtle thing, but I think it really helps unite everyone in a nice way. Next thing I do is add a few fake bullet holes to give it more of that Wild West shootout vibe before adding a few textures over the top of the image. I like to use the resources over at texturelabs.com to find what I need, and for this piece, I chose a few old weathered paper textures to place over the top of the image and just to add some grit to the piece. Also, at home, if you're wanting to learn more about Photoshop, check out Texture Labs. Their YouTube channel has improved my game phenomenally, and this is not sponsored. I just think they are a very good site that does a lot of good for the graphic design community. Finally, I added this last texture to give the paper some worn away edges, and boom, we have a basic wrestling poster that took me about an hour to make. Now look, I definitely glossed over a few things in this tutorial because I'm trying to keep it quick and snappy and all that, but if you need any advice or any help, don't be afraid to jump in the comments and I'll be ready to help you out with whatever you need. Well, one last thing before I go, and it's that once you have your poster done, make sure to save this document, because another thing I like to use this for after the work is done is essentially to act as our guidebook for designing all of the other elements we might need for the show. For instance, if we wanted to design something for Twitter to announce Cody Rhodes coming to the show, we already have basically everything we need right here. I just need to set up a document formatted for Twitter, grab our show logo, company logo, a picture of Cody, and then all of our paper textures from the original poster and import them into the new document. Add a fun bullet hole for pizzazz, a nameplate for Cody, and maybe even a Wild West background, and boom! We have a format ready to promote each individual talent for Twitter. So, with that all being said, thank you guys for joining me today for this tutorial. I've never done a tutorial before. It's not really my wheelhouse. I do graphic design a lot, but I've never really had to teach anybody. So let me know in the comments below if you did enjoy this, if you'd like to see me do something else, like show you guys how I design t-shirt or merchandise or whatever. Just let me know down in the comments. And of course, as always, make sure to like the video for reasons. I'll be honest, I don't know what it does, but apparently it helps the video get views, I guess. So if you did like the video, make sure to like it. And of course, you've got to subscribe. That way you get Fight Boys in your feed every single week. We post at least 2 times every single week. And of course, if you'd like to help out and get tons of extra content, subscribe to the Patreon at patreon.com/FightBoyShow. We try and put out new stuff every couple of weeks. Like I said in last week's video, we've got a video up right now where I fantasy book a Cody Rhodes heel turn in AEW, and it is absolutely a lot. So if you'd like to check that out, head to patreon.com/FightBoyShow. Check it out, show us some love, and we will show you that love right back. Because after all, ladies and gentlemen, when you're a fight boy, you're a fight boy for life.